Hi, Kevin Green here. Welcome to Pathways to the Past. It's been a long time since I've released any new videos. I felt a need to step away from it for just a little bit, but this is Christmas morning 2024, and I've had a tradition of releasing a new video on Christmas each day or each year, and so I'm back for that. This story I found or came from this book here. It's backwards because of the reversed camera right now, but this is a Seymour pictorial history book. It was released in 1991. It was written by Elizabeth Reber, put out by Seymour National Bank. And if you're have an interest in local history, this is a treasure trove of old pictures and information about the history of Seymour. But there's one picture in here that's always kind of fascinated me. If you turn here to page 32, up here in the top is kind of a, see if I can get this right here, this kind of grainy picture of a very large decorated Christmas tree. And I'll read the caption as written here, which says, many recall the first Christmas tree when the city had the first known municipal celebration. On this day, the crowd that gathered was estimated at 15,000. 2 tons of candy, 5 boxes of oranges, and 2 barrels of apples, along with hundreds of toys, were distributed free of charge. A chorus of children provided the entertainment. The night sky was perfect. However, the next day, December 23rd, there was a blizzard and a great snowfall. And that's all the information that's in the book about it. So I've always kind of been curious about this. I hadn't run across anything about it in my studies. And so over the last couple of days, I dug into the research on this event, and I'm now here to let you know the rest of the story. In the early 1900s, it became fashionable across the United States for large cities to put up a municipal or a public Christmas tree and have it decorated up for the Christmas season. And here in Seymour, there was a organization called the Seymour Retail Merchants Association. It was mostly made up of the downtown business owners, and it seems that late in 1914, someone came up with the idea that thinking that Seymour should have a municipal Christmas tree. But it appears that the idea was thought up too late in the year in 1914 to do all the planning that was needed to get it done, so they kind of put it on hold. And then in 1915, the first time I could find any notification of it was front page article on November the 2nd, 1915. And it's announced by the Seymour Merchants Association that they've formed a municipal Christmas tree committee, and their goal was to erect a municipal Christmas tree in Seymour, someplace in the business district, and to have it decorated and to have a Christmas celebration on one particular night to be decided around the tree. And it was said that each child that attended would be given a sack of candy and fruit, and that there would be a platform built near the Christmas tree for a musical program to be performed. So a couple of days later in the paper, on November the 4th, it's announced that not only is this going to be a Christmas celebration, but they had lofty goals. They wanted it to be known as the largest Christmas celebration in the state of Indiana. They didn't want just any cedar tree. They wanted to find the largest cedar tree in Jackson County to be put up as the Christmas tree. Now, from there on, every few days in the paper, there would be updates as the planning went on for this celebration. They had to decide on what night it would be, and there was calls for all the local churches to get together and come up with a large of a choir that they could come up with for the musical program that would be held in conjunction with the celebration. So an article in the paper on December the 14th announced more details of the celebration. They had decided that it would be held on Tuesday evening, December the 21st, that the tree would be placed on 2nd Street, West 2nd, someplace between Chestnut and Walnut Street. There had been earlier reports that they were wanting to put it as close to 2nd and Chestnut, which would be really the center of the downtown business district for the most part, as they could. But you have to understand that the interurban railroad was in place at this time, and the tracks came from the east on 2nd Street down to Chestnut, and then made it turn south on Chestnut, headed south down on Chestnut Street then. And there was a spur, if you will, track that went further west on 2nd, west of Chestnut Street, and that formed what they call a Y, so that trains could be turned around and to go the other direction. And so it would make sense then that they couldn't put the tree any place where it would be blocking the railroad tracks. So it seems that they went down to the end of where the interurban tracks were on 2nd Street between Chestnut and Walnut Street, and it was to be put right in the center of the street there. It was also announced that there would be an archway built at the end of the block with the word Merry Christmas spelled out. They were local ladies' organizations that were busy cutting out stocking patterns that they were going to give out the candy and the fruit in, and sewing those up to get ready. They said they had 2,000 of those ready to go, and that to keep things organized a little bit, that tickets would be handed out to all the school children in town. So any child in the Seymour school system under the age of 14 would be given a ticket, and they would present that ticket at the platform on the night of the celebration in order to receive their sack full of candy and fruit. So on December the 17th, a large cedar tree was selected from the city cemetery, which today would be commonly called the Old City Cemetery, and it was moved into its position in the middle of West 2nd Street between Chestnut and Walnut, and then the decorating committee got busy decorating it. They decorated it with hundreds of electric lights with fluorescent, or not fluorescent, but with clear colored globes over each light to give it a spectacular appearance. And it's said that it was decorated with over a mile of strung popcorn strings. I kind of think they probably exaggerated the mile part a little bit. So on December the 21st, there was a program listed in the paper of the evening's events for the Christmas festival. It would kick off at 7:30, which seemed a little late to me, but it would be kicked off by the local orchestra playing music. And there was quite a lineup of songs sung by the children's choir. Then after that, an adult choir. And then Santa would appear in his sleigh, and he would hand out the treats to the children then. Now the next day in the paper, it was quoted the story of the festival itself, and quoted, it says, it was the biggest event that had ever assembled in Seymour for a single entertainment. The paper estimated that the crowd, although there was no official counting to be done, that the crowd was estimated to be around 8,000 to 10,000 people. That at its peak, that the streets from Chestnut all the way to Walnut were completely filled to capacity with people. They had made 2,500 stockings to hand out to the children, which they ran out of and had to start handing out fruit just individually to the kids, and it's estimated that over 3,000 children were giving treats that night. So that's pretty much the story of Seymour's first municipal Christmas tree celebration and festival. Said that they left the tree up for the rest of the week for people. And an interesting side note that I found was that the following day, on Wednesday at noon, someone had the idea to film a movie. The title of this movie was Mayor Ross Welcomes Santa Claus. And they had the mayor out greeting, this was filmed at noon on Wednesday, greeting Santa Claus, and they had the festival committee members present for their film debut. And it said that they also brought in a couple of classrooms of children to make the film more appealing and interesting. And it said that after the film was developed that it would be shown at the Majestic Theater. But I think that the real reason for doing this was, at the time, movies and that were shown in movie theaters would have newsreels of current events that would be shown. And it was the hopes of them to have this movie distributed all across the United States to be shown. And I really wonder if someplace in the archives out there, there's this film that's still available to see. I have to try to do some research and see if there's any possibility of finding that film available someplace. As far as the blizzard that was mentioned in Elizabeth Reber's book, the only thing that I could find after that was on the 29th, so the week following that, there was a blizzard-like conditions all across the state of Indiana with several storms coming through. So that's the story that I found of Seymour's first municipal Christmas tree celebration. And it seems that this was carried out for a number of years after that. I'll have to see if I can do some research sometime and see how long this festival went on after 1915. So that's it. Hope you enjoyed this. Merry Christmas to you. Happy New Year. I hope to have a lot more videos released this next year. I've got lots of ideas for them, just don't have enough time to film all of them. So anyway, thank you for watching. Like and subscribe if you would do that. That helps me out. And Merry Christmas. Thank you.